I was gathering my files when I felt a soft touch brush against my arm. I turned, startled, and saw her. Alina, my boss's wife. Her perfume lingered in the air, warm and expensive. She tilted her head and smiled as if she already knew what effect she had on me. "You're Oliver, right?" she asked. "Yes," I said quickly. "I work under Richard. Marketing division." She laughed lightly. "I know who you are. You stay late almost every night. You work harder than the rest of them." I nodded, unsure why my throat was so dry. "Just trying to do my job." Her eyes locked on mine. "Richard is out of town. I hate eating alone. You should come to dinner tomorrow. My place. Nothing formal." My heart jumped. "Dinner with you?" She raised an eyebrow. "Are you worried he might not approve?" I searched for words. "He's my boss. I don't want to cross any lines." She leaned closer, her voice lowering. "It's only food, unless you think there's more to it." I felt heat climb up my neck. I didn't mean her lips curved into a teasing smile. "So you'll come then?" 8 o'clock. Before I could answer, she walked away, heels echoing on the marble floor. I stood frozen, the invitation circling in my mind like a dangerous secret. The next evening, I stood at the door of their mansion. My chest was tight as I pressed the bell. Alina opened the door herself, dressed in a silk dress that clung to her body. Her hair fell loosely over her shoulders, framing her face in a way that looked both effortless and deliberate. "You came," she said softly. "You asked," I replied. She smiled. "Come in, let me take your coat." I stepped inside. The house was dimly lit, a low golden glow spilling across the room. Music played faintly from somewhere deeper in the house. 2 wine glasses waited on the table. I hesitated. I thought Richard might be here. Her laugh was short. "Richard never comes home early. Even if he did, he wouldn't notice." She glanced over her shoulder at me. "Tonight, it's just us." I followed her to the dining room. The table was set for 2, candles flickering. I sat down carefully, feeling as though I had entered a trap I couldn't see clearly yet. She poured wine into my glass, then her own. "Tell me, Oliver, do you always follow the rules?" I tried to laugh, but it came out strained. "Depends on the rules." She leaned forward, resting her chin on her hand. "And what about tonight? Do you think this is wrong?" I looked at her, then at the glass in my hand. "I don't know what this is." Her lips curled. "It's dinner. Unless you want it to be more." The words hung in the air, daring me. I swallowed hard. "Why me?" "Because you look at me differently," she said. "Not like the others." "You notice me?" I shook my head. "You're married to my boss?" She reached across the table, her fingers grazing mine. "And yet you're here." I pulled my hand back slowly, my pulse racing. "This doesn't feel safe. Safe is boring," she whispered. We ate, but I could barely taste the food. Every movement of hers drew my eyes. The way she lifted her glass, the way her dress shifted when she leaned closer, the way she held me in silence until I spoke just to break the tension. At one point she laughed, leaning so close I could feel the warmth of her breath. "Relax, Oliver. You're stiff as a board." "I shouldn't even be here," I said, "but you are." She tapped her glass against mine. "That means something." Her gaze was relentless, stripping away my excuses. I tried to focus on the candlelight instead of her lips, on the clock instead of the way her dress shimmered when she moved, but when she stood and walked around the table, stopping beside me, the room seemed to shrink. She placed her hand lightly on my shoulder. "Does this make you nervous?" I exhaled shakily. "Yes, good," she whispered. "That means you feel it too." Stood abruptly, chair scraping against the floor. "I should go." She stepped in front of me, blocking the path. "Leave if you want, but you'll think about me all night." Her confidence shook me more than her touch. I struggled to keep my voice steady. "This isn't right." Her smile softened, but her eyes stayed sharp. "Right and wrong are just words. What you feel is real." I clenched my fists. "You're married." "To him." "To my boss?" Her hand brushed against my chest, her touch sending sparks through me. "Richard doesn't love me. He loves power. He loves money. You're the first person who's seen me in years. I took a step back, heart hammering. I need to go. Go then, she said, her voice low, almost daring me. I moved toward the door, each step heavier than the last. At the threshold, I turned to look back. She stood in the glow of the candles, wine glass in her hand, eyes locked on mine. You'll be back, she said softly. I shut the door behind me and stepped into the night. But her voice followed me, echoing in my mind like a promise I couldn't escape. That night in bed, I couldn't close my eyes. I replayed every moment, every word, every touch. The warmth of her hand, the way she said my name, the certainty in her voice. I told myself I would forget her. I told myself I would draw the line. But deep down I knew she was right. I would be back. I sat across from Alina, the candlelight flickering between us. The food on my plate was untouched, but she laughed as if my silence was entertainment. You're not eating, she said, swirling her wine. I'm not that hungry. I answered, You worked all day. You must be starving. I guess I'm distracted. Her eyes lingered on me. By me? I shifted in my seat. By the situation? She leaned closer, her arm brushing against mine. The silk of her dress grazed my sleeve, deliberate, slow. You think too much, Oliver? Relax. I don't think relaxing here is a good idea. Her lips curved. Then why are you here? I told myself it was only dinner. She raised her glass and sipped. Do you still believe that? The heat in my chest betrayed me. I want us. Her laugh was low, rich. Wanting is dangerous. You look like a man who follows rules, but your eyes give you away. They want to break something. I forced myself to steady my voice. If anyone finds out, I'm finished. Richard would fire me on the spot. She tilted her head, studying me. Richard doesn't notice me anymore. He notices numbers, profits, contracts. I am invisible in my own house. That doesn't make this right. It makes it real. You notice me? I looked down at my glass, then back at her. You're playing a dangerous game. Her smile widened. Games are only dangerous if you play to lose. Her words sank into me like a dare. I felt the tension coil tighter with every glance she gave. She leaned in again, her perfume surrounding me, and whispered, Do you ever get lonely, Oliver? I froze. The question cut through me sharper than anything before. Yes, said quietly. Her eyes softened for a moment, as if she had peeled away her mask. She placed her hand over mine, warm, steady, burning through my skin. I didn't pull away, Alina, I whispered. This is wrong. Her thumb brushed my knuckles, slow and deliberate. Then stop me. I didn't. Her gaze locked on mine, and the silence between us grew heavier than the words we had spoken. My pulse pounded in my ears. She leaned closer, her lips inches from mine, and I held my breath, torn between reason and desire. You see, she whispered, you don't want to stop me. I closed my eyes for a second, fighting myself. You're married to a man who doesn't care if I'm alive or dead, she shot back. I pulled my hand from hers at last, standing too quickly. The chair legs screeched against the floor. I can't do this. She looked up at me calmly, sipping her wine as if nothing had happened. Then go. Walk away. Pretend this never happened. I stayed frozen where I stood, my hand trembling at my side. She set her glass down, tilting her head. You won't leave. Because no one has touched you like this before. Not with words, not with eyes, not with a hand. I swallowed hard. You're twisting me in circles. Her laugh was soft. And you're letting me. I paced to the window, staring out at the night sky, trying to gather my thoughts. If Richard knew, Richard is hundreds of miles away, drowning in meetings and power games. He doesn't see you. He doesn't see me. But I see you, Oliver. I see the way your jaw tightens when I speak, the way your chest rises when I step closer. Her voice pressed against my will like a velvet blade. You make it sound so simple, I muttered. It is simple, she said, standing slowly and walking toward me. Her heels clicked against the floor like a rhythm I couldn't block out. She stopped inches away, her eyes locked on mine. We are here. We are alive.
We want.
That is all. I felt myself trembling, not from fear, but from the war inside me. My instincts screamed to leave, but my body leaned toward her. "Alina," I said, forcing my voice steady. "I can't." She leaned close enough for her breath to warm my cheek. "You already have." I stepped back suddenly, breaking the spell. "I need to go." Her eyes narrowed, though her smile remained. "Then go. But when you lie in your bed tonight, when the silence surrounds you, remember the way my hand felt on yours. You'll want it again. You'll come back for it." I grabbed my jacket from the chair and moved to the door, my chest burning. She didn't follow me. She only stood there, watching, her smile knowing, her eyes victorious at the door. I turned once more, desperate to say something that would shatter her hold on me. But no words came. "Good night, Oliver," she said softly, the door shut behind me. But her voice stayed inside my head. I walked down the empty street, my footsteps echoing. Every nerve in my body felt raw. I wanted to believe I had escaped, that I had ended it before it began. But when I looked at my hand, I could still feel the heat of hers pressed against it. I knew she was right. I would think about her all night, and the thought terrified me more than anything else. Asterisk, I sat at my desk the next morning, trying to focus on numbers on the screen, but all I could see was her hand over mine, her eyes daring me not to pull away. Oliver, Richard's voice snapped me out of it. He stood by my desk, his suit crisp, his expression unreadable. "The quarterly report. Is it ready?" "Yes, sir." "I'll have it on your desk by noon." "Good, keep it tight. No excuses." I nodded. "Of course." He walked away without another word. I watched him disappear into his office, the weight in my chest growing heavier. He had no idea what happened in his dining room last night. He trusted me. That made it worse. My phone buzzed. I glanced down. A message from Alina. "You left too soon." My stomach tightened. I slipped the phone into my pocket, trying to ignore it. Another message came. "Meet me tonight." "Outside your office?" "Don't make me wait," I typed. "I can't. It's risky." Her reply was instant. That's what makes it worth it. When the clock finally hit 7, most of the office emptied. I sat at my desk long after, trying to convince myself to go straight home. Yet when I walked outside, I saw her car parked at the corner, sleek in black, window lowered. "Get in," she said. I hesitated, looking around. Someone might see. "Then hurry." I slid into the passenger seat. The scent of her perfume hit me immediately, intoxicating and familiar. She tilted her head, studying me. "You look tense. Am I that terrifying? You know what you're doing to me? Good." She leaned closer, her eyes glowing in the dim streetlight. "I like watching you fight yourself." "This is madness," I whispered. "Madness can be beautiful," she replied, her lips curving into a slow smile. I tried to steady my breathing. "Why me, Alina? Why not anyone else?" "Because you hesitate," she said. "Men who rush in are boring. Men who resist taste sweeter when they finally give in." She shifted closer across the leather seat. Her shoulder brushed mine. Her voice dropped to a whisper. "You wanted to kiss me last night?" I felt it. I clenched my fists, and I stopped myself. She leaned in, so close I could feel the warmth of her breath. "You won't stop yourself forever." I turned my head slightly, fighting the pull. "Richard is my boss." Her eyes glinted. "And yet here you are in my car with the door closed, no one around." I swallowed hard, unable to move. Her lips hovered just inches from mine. The air felt heavy, charged, like the world outside no longer existed. Then her phone rang. Shattering the moment, the name on the screen made my blood run cold. "Richard," she looked at the glowing phone, then back at me. Her smile spread slowly, wicked and deliberate. "Aren't you going to answer?" I asked, my voice tight. She pressed the decline button and tossed the phone into the console. "Not tonight. You can't just ignore him like that." "I can ignore anyone I want," she said, her voice soft but sharp. I stared at her, disbelief and desire colliding inside me. This is insane. She leaned in again, whispering so close her lips nearly touched mine. It's our secret. The words sank into me like chains. Our secret, she repeated, her fingers brushing against my hand. I closed my eyes for a second, feeling my will unravel. Alina, I whispered, this is going too far. Then stop me, she challenged, but I didn't move. Her phone buzzed again in the console. She ignored it, her hand tightening over mine. Her eyes never left me. Say it, she murmured. Say you'll keep it. I shook my head weakly. Keep what? Our secret, she whispered again, as if binding me with the words. The sound of them filled the car, heavier than any silence. I finally pulled my hand free and reached for the door handle. I need to breathe. Her laugh was quiet, dangerous. Go ahead. But remember, once you've held a secret like this, you don't put it down. You carry it everywhere. I stepped out of the car, heart pounding, the night air cold against my face. She lowered the window, her eyes glinting under the streetlight. You'll see me again, she said softly. I walked away, but every step felt chained to her words. That night in my apartment, I sat on the edge of my bed, staring at my phone. I wanted to delete her number, block every message, erase her from my life. But when I closed my eyes, all I saw was her smile as she declined Richard's call. All I heard was her whisper, our secret, and I knew I was already trapped. Elena's voice was the first thing I heard when I stepped into the office kitchen. Oliver, you look like you didn't sleep. I grabbed a mug from the shelf, trying to steady myself. Maybe I didn't. Her eyes followed me as she leaned against the counter, a soft smirk curving her lips. I kept you awake, didn't I? You shouldn't say things like that in here. Relax, she whispered, brushing past me to reach for the sugar jar. Her shoulder grazed mine, her perfume clinging to me. No one's listening. I stepped back, but she closed the gap again, handing me the spoon. Her fingers lingered against mine a moment too long. Alina, I muttered, this isn't coffee anymore. It's fire. Then burn with me, she replied, eyes locked on mine. That night, her text came before I even left the office. Parking lot. 10 minutes. I told myself not to go, but my legs carried me anyway. She sat behind the wheel, the radio low, her gaze fixed on me as I slid into the seat. You came, she said softly. You told me to. You could have said no. I looked at her, tired of pretending. When it comes to you, I can't. Her smile flickered, but there was no triumph in it this time. Good. We drove through the city in silence, lights streaking past the windshield. Finally, she spoke. Do you know why I wanted this? I shook my head. I've been asking myself the same question. Richard doesn't deserve me, she said flatly. He doesn't deserve loyalty, trust, or even respect. I stiffened. He's your husband. And your boss? She shot back. But do you know what he is to me? A prison guard. Her voice cracked with something sharp. He keeps me like an ornament, polished when he needs to show me off, ignored when no one's watching. You think he loves me? He loves control. I swallowed hard. And this, with me, what is it? She slowed the car at a red light, her eyes catching mine in the glow. Freedom. Revenge. Maybe both. My chest tightened. So I'm just part of a game? Her hand slid over to mine, gripping it firmly. Not just a game, a choice. You're the first real choice I've made in years. The light turned green, but she didn't move. She just held my gaze. Alina, I said quietly, this is dangerous. That's what makes it real. I pulled my hand back, pressing it against my knee. You're trying to make me hate him with you? Her jaw clenched. Maybe you should. You see the way he treats people? Cold, calculating. He'll never give you more than scraps. And you stay loyal. Why? Because he trusts me? I snapped. She laughed bitterly. Trust. He doesn't even notice you exist outside of his reports. He uses you like he uses me. The difference is, I decided not to play anymore. I sat in silence, the engine humming beneath us. Her voice softened. You want me? I feel it every time you look away. But what scares you isn't desire. It's that part of you already hates him too, and you don't want to admit it. Hey, my throat tightened. Stop twisting this. Not twisting. I'm showing you what's already inside. Later, we sat by the river, the city lights reflecting on the water. The car windows fogged faintly with our breath. She leaned back in her seat, head tilted toward me. Tell me something true. I stared at the dark ripples outside. I think about you when I shouldn't. Her lips curved. Good now, ask me. Do you still love him? Her laughter was sharp. Love. I stopped loving Richard the day he stopped seeing me. I want him to feel what I feel every night when he turns away. It's empty. Replaced. I exhaled slowly. So I'm your weapon. You're more than that. You're the one thing he won't see coming. Her hand touched my cheek, light as silk. And the one thing I don't want to lose? I closed my eyes, torn in two. This isn't just about us anymore. You want me to help you destroy him? She leaned closer, her lips almost brushing mine. Or save me from him. Either way, you're already in it. The heat between us thickened. The car too small for the storm inside, Alina, I whispered. If we cross this line, there's no turning back. Her eyes burned into mine. Then don't turn back. The sound of her words hung heavy in the air, and I knew I was already falling. Alina opened the door before I even knocked. You're late, she said. Her voice soft but edged with something that felt like control. I had to finish a report for Richard, I replied. Stepping inside, she wore a silk dress that shimmered in the low light, the fabric hugging her curves. A record spun in the corner, a slow tune filling the air. She smiled as if she already knew what would happen. He keeps you late. I should be angry with him, but tonight I'm grateful. I swallowed hard. Why grateful? Because it gave me more time to get ready for you. Her words hit me like a spark. I should have turned around and walked back out. Instead, I let her take my hand and pull me into the living room. Dance with me, she whispered. Alina, I muttered, this is a bad idea. Bad ideas are the only ones worth remembering. She pressed closer, her body brushing mine as she swayed to the music. Her perfume filled my senses. My hands hovered at her waist, unsure, until she guided them there herself. You're tense, she said, resting her head against my chest. Why are you still fighting me? Because I see him every day, I admitted. Because this isn't just about us. She tilted her face up, her lips inches from mine. It is about us. Richard doesn't matter here. I almost believed her until my eyes flicked to the tall mirror across the room. The reflection stopped me cold. I saw myself, wide-eyed and desperate, holding another man's wife like I belonged to her. I froze. I can't do this. Her smirk was slow, knowing. You're not afraid of me, Oliver. You're afraid of being caught. That's not true. She tightened her grip on my shirt, pulling me closer. Look at you. Breathing fast. Heart racing. You don't even realize how much you want the risk. I'm not addicted to this, I said through clenched teeth. Her laugh was low and dangerous. Not yet, but you will be. I stepped back, breaking the contact. Stop playing with me. She crossed her arms, silk shimmering as she leaned against the wall. Is that what you think this is? A game? What else could it be? You talk about Richard like you hate him. You drag me into this. And I'm standing here betraying the man who signs my paycheck. Her eyes narrowed. Do you want me to beg you to stop? Is that what you need? I shook my head. I need you to be honest. I'm honest, she snapped. I want you, and I want him to know he's not enough. The words cut deep. So I'm just proof of his failure. Her tone softened again like a switch flipped. No, you're more than that. You're the only thing that feels alive in this house. I glanced at the mirror again, my reflection still haunting me. Then why does it feel like I'm losing myself? She walked up behind me, her hands sliding over my shoulders, her lips brushing my ear. Because you're afraid of who you really are when no one's watching? That's why you looked at the mirror. You don't like what you saw? Her words sank into me like poison and truth at the same time. Alina, I whispered, if this is how it's going to be, then one of us is going to get destroyed. She smiled against my skin. Good, that means it's worth it. The music slowed, the record scratching faintly, and the room felt heavier with every breath. I wanted to leave. I wanted to stay. Her hands tightened around mine as she whispered, "You'll come back, Oliver. You always do." And I knew she was right, even as guilt burned inside me like a warning I couldn't silence. I stayed late at the office, hoping distance would cool whatever fire Elena had lit inside me. The fluorescent lights hummed above as I typed, trying to drown out her voice in my head. Then the door opened. Working hard? Elena's tone was casual, but her presence hit like a storm. She leaned against the frame, wearing a dark coat over her silk dress. I set my pen down. "You can't be here." "Relax," she said, stepping inside. "Richard is out of town. No one will see me. That's not the point." Her smile was deliberate, her eyes locked on mine. "You're avoiding me." "I'm trying to protect myself," I replied, "and failing." She slid a folded note onto my desk. "Read it when I leave, Elena. Good night, Oliver." She was gone before I could stop her. I stared at the note. My hands shook as I opened it. "You left too soon. Don't make me come find you." My pulse raced. She was everywhere, invading my life like I had no say in it. The call started the next night. My phone buzzed past midnight. I answered on instinct. "Hello?" Nothing. Just soft breathing on the other end. "Elena?" I whispered. The line went dead. The next night the same. On the third I snapped. "Stop this. What do you want?" Her laugh slipped through the line, smooth and cold. "You know what I want? You're destroying me. Or saving you from a life of obedience. Which sounds more exciting?" I slammed the phone down, but her voice lingered in my head. 2 days later, she cornered me in the parking garage. "You're making this harder than it has to be," she said, blocking my path. I kept my eyes on the exit. "Let me go. Not until you listen." She stepped closer, her perfume wrapping around me. "If you keep ignoring me, I'll have no choice." "No choice about what?" Her lips curved. "Telling Richard, you've been chasing me." The air left my lungs. "You wouldn't, wouldn't I?" She tilted her head. "He trusts me more than you. One word from me, and you're gone. Career, reputation, future, over." Anger burned through me. "You'd ruin me to keep me near you?" She whispered, "I'd ruin everything just to make sure you don't walk away." I took a step back, my voice sharp. "That's not love. That's a trap." Her eyes flashed. "Call it what you want. You're already in it." I pressed my hands into my pockets to keep them from shaking. "Why me, Elena? Out of everyone you could play these games with, why me?" She softened suddenly, her hand brushing my arm. "Because you look at me like I'm more than Richard's wife. Because you make me feel seen. Because I crave you in a way I can't control." Her shifts terrified me. Tender one moment, ruthless the next. "Elena," I whispered. "I don't know if I hate you or need you. Both," she said. "That's why you'll never leave." That night I tried to sleep, but every sound made me jump. I kept imagining Richard finding out, Elena twisting the story, my entire life collapsing. My phone buzzed again. A message this time. "Tomorrow. My house. Don't be late." I stared at the screen, my stomach turning. Part of me wanted to throw the phone across the room. Another part wanted to reply. Instead, I turned off the light and lay in the dark, knowing the choice had already been made. The ballroom shimmered with golden glass. Music swelled from a string quartet, and chandeliers cast a soft glow over the sea of tuxedos and gowns. Richard's hand pressed firmly on my shoulder as he introduced me to a circle of his colleagues. "This is Oliver," Richard said, beaming with a kind of pride that carried weight. Sharp, dependable, one of the brightest assets on my team. I forced a polite smile and shook hands with strangers whose names vanished as quickly as they were spoken. Applause from across the hall broke our circle as a toast began. That's when I felt her. Elena's perfume drifted past me, faint but inescapable. I glanced over. She stood a few feet away, champagne flute in hand. Her eyes fixed on me while her lips curved with dangerous calm. Oliver, she purred as she approached, brushing her hand against my sleeve under the pretense of reaching for Richard's glass. You look tense. Maybe too much work? My throat tightened. Richard chuckled, unaware. He's always tense, Alina. Comes with the job. She lingered close, her fingers grazing the back of my hand so lightly no one else would notice. To me, it burned like fire. Some tension, she whispered near my ear, is good for a man. Keeps him awake. I clenched my jaw. Not here, I muttered, keeping my voice low. Her smile widened as she drifted back, her eyes shining with a silent dare. The night dragged on. Conversations about profits and politics circling endlessly, until Richard pulled me toward another group. That's when I saw her. Isabel. She stood near the bar, a glass of red wine in hand. Her gown was sleek, emerald green against her dark hair. When our eyes met, it wasn't casual. It was sharp, deliberate. She read me in seconds, and something told me she didn't like what she saw. Richard clapped a hand on my back. Isabel, you remember me? And this is Oliver. She extended her hand, her grip firm, her eyes not leaving mine. So this is the one I've heard about. I blinked. Heard about? Her smile was thin, amused. Word travels fast in these circles. You don't exactly blend in. I searched her tone for malice, but found curiosity instead. I'm just doing my job. That's what they all say, she replied, sipping her wine. But I saw you across the room. Your job doesn't make you flinch like that. People do. I froze, realizing she had noticed. Not Richard. Not anyone else. Just her. Before I could answer, Alina appeared again, sliding between us with calculated grace. Isabel, how nice to see you. The air shifted. Alina's voice was honey with poison underneath. Alina, Isabel replied smoothly, though her eyes flicked back to me, sharp and knowing. You look occupied tonight. I am, Alina said, resting her hand on my arm. The pressure was light, but her nails pressed into my sleeve like claws. Oliver's been keeping me entertained. Richard laughed, oblivious. They bicker like siblings. You'd think they were family. Alina's grip tightened. Family isn't the word I'd use. My chest burned. I forced a smile to mask the storm inside me, but Isabel's gaze caught the truth. Her brow furrowed just slightly, and in that second, I knew she understood. The rest of the gala blurred. I answered questions, toasted to speeches, laughed when prompted, but Alina never left my side. Every move she made was a claim, her hand brushing mine as she leaned in too close. Her whisper against my neck, disguised as a comment about the wine. Her laugh pitched just for me. By the time the hall began to empty, I felt caged. Richard was deep in conversation near the stage, leaving me momentarily free. I slipped down a quiet corridor, desperate for air. The echo of heels followed, running away. Alina's voice sliced through the silence. I turned, pulse racing. You need to stop. She stepped closer, her gown shimmering under the low light. Stop what? Talking to you? Touching you? Watching you drown every time I walk into a room? I swallowed hard. You're destroying me. And if Richard sees, you'll destroy him too. She smiled, but her eyes were cold. He won't see. He never sees. But I do. I see every glance, every breath you take when I'm near. You want me? You can't lie about that. I don't want this. Don't insult me, her voice dropped, almost a hiss. Did you think I didn't notice her? The way Isabel looked at you? Like she could save you. She just asked a question, I said, though my voice betrayed me. Her eyes asked for more. Alina's hand shot out, gripping my tie, yanking me closer. You're mine. Don't forget it. Froze. Her breath was warm against my cheek, her nails digging into my chest as if she could carve her name into me. Let go, I said, my voice low but firm. Say it, she demanded. Say you're mine. Fear laced through the tension. My heart pounded against her grip. For the first time, the desire that once pulled me toward her twisted into something darker. I shoved her hand away. I'm not yours. Her eyes flared, not with hurt, but with fury. Careful, Oliver. You think you can run to her? To anyone? I'll tear it apart before it starts. She turned on her heel and disappeared back into the glow of the ballroom, leaving me in the shadows with my pulse hammering and my shirt collar pulled askew. I leaned against the wall, gasping for control. The taste of her threat lingered sharper than her perfume, and for the first time, I wasn't just worried about desire. I was terrified of her. The gala was nearly over when I slipped outside for air. The city lights shimmered beyond the terrace, 1,000 windows flickering like restless eyes. I loosened my tie and leaned against the railing, praying for quiet. You don't look like a man enjoying a party. Turned. Isabel stood at the edge of the terrace, arms crossed, her green gown glowing under the outdoor lights. I'm not much of a party person, I said. That's not what I saw. She stepped closer, her voice low. You looked trapped, tried to brush it off. Crowds aren't my thing. Her eyes narrowed. Don't insult me. I know what I saw. Then what did you see? Her, she said simply. My chest tightened. Who? Alina. Isabel's voice was calm, but her words cut deep. The way she touched you, the way you froze. She does this. She ruins men. I've seen it before. You don't know her. I know enough, she said, her gaze steady. And I can see she has her claws in you. Swallowed hard. Why are you telling me this? Because you look like you're drowning and no one else notices. She held my eyes. Be careful. She doesn't just play games. She destroys. I searched her face for an agenda, but all I found was a quiet intensity that unsettled me. I appreciate the warning. I said finally. Don't just appreciate it, she replied. Listen to it. Before I could respond, Richard's voice called from inside. Isabel gave me one last look before turning back into the glow of the ballroom, leaving me shaken. Later that night, I staggered into my apartment, grateful for silence. I dropped my jacket, poured a glass of water, and pressed it to my lips. The knock came almost immediately. I froze. Midnight. Too late for anyone normal. When I opened the door, Alina slipped inside without waiting. Her eyes blazed, her lips pressed into a sharp line. What the hell was that? She demanded. What are you talking about? Don't play dumb, Isabel. The way she looked at you? She just asked questions. Questions. Elena's laugh was sharp. She had her hands all over you with her eyes. And you liked it? You're imagining things? I'm not blind, she snapped, stepping closer. You think I didn't see her follow you outside? You think I didn't notice the way you looked back at her? I set my glass down, trying to keep calm. Nothing happened. Her voice dropped to a dangerous whisper. Don't lie to me. I'm not lying. She moved closer until her face was inches from mine. You're mine. Do you understand? I never agreed to that. Her hand shot up, gripping my collar tight. Don't test me. I felt her nails bite through the fabric. You're out of control. Her breath was hot against my cheek as she hissed, If I fall, you fall with me. My stomach lurched. What does that mean? It means if you betray me, if you even think of running to her, I'll burn everything. You, me, Richard? All of it. I grabbed her wrist and forced her hand off my collar. You're insane, she smiled, cold and triumphant. And you're trapped. I stepped back, my chest rising and falling. You can't keep doing this. Her eyes glittered in the dim light. Watch me. Silence stretched between us, thick and suffocating. Finally, I said, You need to leave. For a moment I thought she'd refuse, but then she leaned in, brushed her lips near my ear and whispered, Remember, Oliver, you belong to me. She pulled away and walked to the door, her heels striking the floor like nails in a coffin. With one last look, she slipped out, leaving the air poisoned with her presence. I locked the door, my hands trembling. My reflection in the window looked pale, cornered. Isabel's words replayed in my head. She ruins men. Be careful. She was right. I was sinking fast, and if I didn't find a way out, Lena would drag me under with her. Asterisk, I chose a quiet cafe across town, far from the office, far from Elena's eyes. Isabel walked in like she owned the place, her presence drawing every gaze. But her focus landed squarely on me. "You picked somewhere discreet," she said. Sliding into the seat across from me, I didn't want anyone recognizing us. Her lips curved slightly, especially not her. I leaned forward. "You said last night Elena ruins men. Tell me what you meant." Isabel's eyes searched mine, steady and sharp. "You already know. You just want someone else to say it out loud." "She's unpredictable," I admitted. One second she's warm, the next she's threatening to burn my life down. That's her pattern. She gets inside your head, twists your choices until you think they're hers. By the time you realize it, you're already tied to her. I clenched my jaw. I'm already tied to her. Isabel's hand rested on the table, steady, deliberate. "Then untie yourself. It's not that simple. It never is." Her calmness cut through my panic. For the first time in weeks, I felt like I wasn't drowning alone. "Why are you helping me?" I asked. Her gaze softened, though her voice stayed firm. "Because I don't like seeing people destroyed. And because I can see you're not like the others she plays with. What makes you so sure?" "You still look guilty," she said. "Men who give in completely stop looking guilty. They only look hungry." I exhaled slowly, my hands gripping the edge of the table. "I don't want this. I didn't ask for it, but you're in it." Isabel's tone wasn't cruel, just matter of fact. I stared at her hand, steady on the table. My own moved without thinking, brushing against hers. She didn't pull back. Instead, she turned her palm and placed it gently over mine. It wasn't fire. It wasn't a spark that burned. It was warmth. A calm I had forgotten existed. "You don't have to be afraid with me," she said softly. For a moment, I believed her. My chest loosened, my heartbeat steadied. Then my phone buzzed. I froze. Isabel pulled her hand back as I checked the screen. A photo glared back at me. Elena's lips pressed against my cheek in the reflection of that cursed mirror from her apartment. The message read, "Thinking of us." Always my stomach turned cold. Isabel watched my face pale. "It's her, isn't it?" I pushed the phone across the table. Isabel leaned forward, her eyes narrowing at the image. "She's not just toying with you. She's keeping evidence." My throat felt tight. She said if she falls, I fall with her. "She means it," Isabel said. "That's blackmail dressed as affection." I ran my hands through my hair. "What do I do?" "First, stop panicking." Her voice was sharp, steady, pulling me back. "She wants you frantic. Don't give her what she wants. I can't just ignore her. Then stop answering to her rules. Make your own." I stared at her, desperate and lost. "You make it sound so easy." "It's not easy," Isabel said. "It's war, and you're in the middle." I leaned back, shaking my head. "Richard trusts me. He looks me in the eye every day and has no idea. If she shows him these pictures, I'm finished." "Then you have to decide which side you're really on," Isabel said. "Hers or yours?" Her words hit me harder than I expected. For weeks, I had been reacting, obeying, drowning. Isabel was the first person who told me to fight. I looked at her. "Why do I feel like I can breathe when I'm with you?" She tilted her head, her voice softening again. "Because I'm not trying to suffocate you." Her words broke something open in me. My hand found hers again, tighter this time. "I don't know if I can do this alone." "You're not alone anymore," she said. "But you have to choose if you want to be saved." The air between us thickened, charged, but not like with Elena. This wasn't poison. It was oxygen. Then my phone buzzed again. Another picture. This time, Elena's hand tangled in my tie, her lips inches from mine. The caption, "You're mine. Don't forget it." I shut my eyes, nausea washing over me. "Let me see," Isabel demanded. I showed her. Her face hardened. "She's tightening the noose. She won't stop," I whispered. "Then we make her stop," Isabel said firmly. "But you have to trust me." I stared at her, her confidence, her fire. For the first time in weeks, I saw a sliver of escape. A dangerous one, but escape all the same? Can I trust you? I asked. Her grip tightened on my hand. You'll have to. The dining room was too quiet. Richard had chosen the private room at the back of an exclusive club, a place meant for comfort. But every polished surface and flickering candle only made my chest feel tighter. Richard poured the wine himself, his eyes heavy on me. You've been working hard, Oliver. I appreciate loyalty. I nodded, forcing my voice steady. Thank you, sir. That means a lot. Lena's hand brushed his sleeve as she leaned closer. Loyalty is such a rare thing these days, isn't it? Richard looked at her, then back at me. It is. The fork in my hand felt heavier than metal had any right to. Alina tilted her head, her smile edged with poison. I do worry, though. Sometimes loyalty can be misunderstood, especially when young men confuse admiration with something else. My throat closed. Richard's gaze sharpened. What exactly are you saying, Alina? She didn't answer right away. Instead, she reached for her glass, sipping slowly, eyes locked on mine. Oliver has been very attentive. Sometimes a little too attentive. The words hit like a hammer. I opened my mouth. That's not. Richard cut me off with a raised hand, his eyes narrowing at me. Is this true? My pulse hammered in my ears. Elena's lips curved in a faint smile, watching me sweat. Richard, The door opened. Isabel stepped inside, calm, composed, as if she had been waiting for this exact moment. Sorry to intrude, she said smoothly, her eyes flicking to me, then to Alina. But I think this conversation needs balance. Richard frowned. Isabel, what are you doing here? She set her clutch on the table, unhurried, making sure the truth doesn't get buried. Lena's composure cracked for the first time. This is a private dinner. Private dinners stop being private when lies poison them, Isabel replied. She pulled her phone from her bag and tapped the screen. Oliver hasn't been chasing you, Alina. You've been cornering him. I have proof. Richard's chair scraped against the floor as he stood, his face darkening. What proof? Isabel held out the phone. Texts, pictures, threats. I took them straight from Oliver's phone with his permission. Richard's hand trembled slightly as he scrolled through the messages. His jaw clenched tighter with each word he read. Alina, explain this. Lena reached out. Richard, don't let her twist things. Those texts were private, playful. Richard's voice thundered across the room. You threatened him. You said, if you fall, he falls. Is that playful? Elena's mask slipped. Her eyes darted toward me, filled with rage, then back to Richard. She's setting me up. Don't you see? Isabel has always wanted to undermine me. Isabel didn't flinch. Or maybe I just got tired of watching you destroy everything you touch. Richard slammed the phone onto the table. The glasses rattled. Enough. His stare pinned Alina. How long has this been going on? Elena's voice cracked. You're really going to believe them over me? You're my wife, Richard growled, his face red with fury. And you've humiliated me. For a terrifying second, I thought his anger would turn toward me. My stomach churned as I braced for it. But his glare never left her. You brought shame into my house, Richard said, his voice low but shaking with rage. You made a fool out of me. Alina stood quickly, her chair tipping. Richard, listen to me now, he barked. You listen. I trusted you. I defended you. And you repay me with this? He pointed at the phone. With this filth? Her voice rose, desperate now. You never cared about me? You left me alone in that empty mansion. Don't act like you're innocent.
How?
Richard's fists clenched. So you trap one of my employees? Threaten him? You call that love? Elena's eyes blazed, but I saw fear creeping into the edges. You don't understand. He wanted it to. Did you? Richard snapped, turning to me. I met his eyes, my stomach burning. I didn't. She cornered me, Richard. I made mistakes, but I didn't pursue her. Isabel's hand touched my arm, steadying me. He's telling the truth. Richard's chest heaved as he looked between us, the betrayal carving lines into his face. For the first time, not the powerful executive, but a man gutted by the collapse of everything he thought was his. Elena's voice broke into a shriek. You're pathetic, Richard. You think you can control everything, but you couldn't even keep your wife. The silence after her scream was deafening. Richard's face twisted with fury. Get out. She froze. What? I said, get out, he roared. Out of my sight before I lose what little control I have left. Her eyes burned into me, venom dripping from her glare. This isn't over, she spat, then stormed out. Heels echoing like gunshots, the door slammed. The room felt shattered, pieces of trust and fear lying everywhere. Richard stood there, chest rising and falling, his hands shaking. He looked at me. If you weren't telling the truth tonight, I'd have destroyed you. I know, I said quietly. Isabel stepped in. But he was telling the truth. And now you see her for what she is. Richard sank back into his chair, rubbing his face. God help me. I sat frozen, my heart still racing, realizing the hunter had finally been unmasked. And for the first time, Alina wasn't the one holding the trap. Asterisk. I stood in the center of the marble foyer, frozen, as Elena's voice sliced through the room. You can't do this to me, Richard. You can't. Her words were raw, jagged, almost animal. Richard's face flushed with fury. I gave you everything. You lied. You threatened him. You tried to blackmail me. We're finished. Her eyes snapped to me. You think you're safe now? She lunged forward, but Richard blocked her. Stay where you are, Alina, he barked. You've humiliated me enough tonight. I could feel my heart hammering. The woman who once had me tangled in her orbit now looked like a stranger, mascara streaking down her cheeks, hands trembling. She had been untouchable for so long, and now she was cornered. You think he cares about you, Richard? She spat. He's using your daughter to destroy you. Isabel stepped forward, her voice calm but icy. You're done, Elena. We all know it. Stop making it worse for yourself. Elena's eyes widened. You little snake? You think he'll choose you over me? I finally found my voice. This ends here, Elena. She stared at me, stunned, as if the sound of my defiance physically struck her. You dare talk to me like that? I felt Isabel's hand slip around my arm. Let's go, she whispered, her breath warm against my ear. Elena's scream echoed off the walls. You're both pathetic. You'll regret this. Richard's voice cut her off. Get out of my house, Elena. Tonight you're done. The cars, the accounts, the staff, everything stops now. Her knees buckled. You're abandoning me? You abandoned me a long time ago, he said. His voice cracked, but his eyes stayed hard. Isabel tugged gently on my arm. Oliver. Now. I looked at Alina one last time. She was gripping the edge of the banister like it was the only thing keeping her upright. She had been fire, poison, temptation, danger. Now she was just a person watching her empire crumble. You built this, I said quietly. Not me. She let out a bitter laugh. You'll crawl back to me. They all do. I didn't answer. I turned toward the door. Isabel leaned closer. You don't owe her another word. I walked forward, each step heavier than the last. The room smelled like perfume and spilled wine, like chaos. My head spun, but Isabel's arm anchored me. Richard called out behind me. Oliver. I stopped but didn't turn. I should have listened to you sooner, he said. Whatever you're planning with my daughter, don't destroy her like she did you. I'm not planning anything, I said. I just want out. Lena let out a guttural sound, half sob, half growl. You're a liar. You'll never leave me. Isabel's fingers tightened on my arm. We're leaving, she said firmly. I opened the front door. Cool night air hit my face, sharp and clean after the stifling heat of the mansion. I stepped onto the stone steps, feeling my lungs expand like I hadn't been breathing for months. Behind us, Elena's voice carried into the night. I'll ruin you, Oliver. I'll ruin you both. Isabel didn't flinch. Keep walking. I glanced sideways at her. You're calm for someone who just went to war with Alina. She gave a small smile. I've been preparing for this for a long time. Why? I asked. Because I saw what she was doing to you, she said. And because my father wouldn't see it? Someone had to. I let out a shaky breath. You saved me back there. You saved yourself, she said softly. I just gave you a door. We reached the driveway where cars gleamed under the lights. My hands were trembling. She won't stop, I said. You know that. She can't touch you anymore, Isabel said. Not with what we have. She's dangerous. So am I, when it matters, she replied. I turned to face her fully. Why are you helping me? Her eyes searched mine. Because you're not like them. And because you make me feel like I'm not like them either, swallowed hard. Isabel, she stepped closer. We've both been pawns in her game, but we don't have to be anymore. For the first time that night, I felt something warm break through the cold. I'm not used to people standing next to me when everything falls apart, I said. You've been standing alone for too long, she replied. I looked back at the house. Through the tall windows, I could see Elena still yelling, Richard standing stiff and silent. The life I had been pulled into was tearing itself apart. Isabel touched my chin, turning my face back to hers. Look at me, not her. I met her gaze. Her eyes were steady, not burning like Elena's, but grounding. You're not afraid of her, I said. No, she said. I'm not. Why not? Because she's already lost, Isabel said simply. And because I'm not fighting for her approval, I'm fighting for my own life. Something inside me shifted. You're serious about this? She nodded. Come with me tonight. Don't go back in there. Exhaled, long and deep. Where would we go? Anywhere that isn't here, she said. I studied her face. She wasn't playing. She wasn't baiting me. She was offering me a way out. You think we can just walk away? I asked. We're already walking, she said. You just haven't realized it yet. I stared at her hand, still holding my arm. It wasn't a grip like Elena's had been, all control and demand. It was an invitation. Oliver, she said quietly. Choose now. I turned away from the mansion and took another. Stepped forward. The sound of my shoes on the gravel was like a gunshot. Good, she whispered. We reached the gate. My phone buzzed. A new message from Elena. A single photo of us leaving together. Under it, the words, You'll regret this. I showed it to Isabel. She's already moving. Isabel tilted her head. Let her. The world isn't hers anymore. She'll try to destroy me. She's already destroyed herself, Isabel said. I pocketed the phone. Then we keep going. Yes, she said. The gate opened slowly. Beyond it, the street stretched out into the dark. I felt my heart racing, but for the first time, it wasn't panic. It was freedom. You're shaking, Isabel said softly. I'm trying to believe this is real. I said it's real. She whispered. You're walking out with me. That's real. I stopped just outside the gate and turned to her. You're my boss's rival's daughter. This is insane, she smiled faintly. Maybe, but it's ours. I laughed once, short and disbelieving. You're going to get me killed, she said. I'm going to get you out. I took her hand. Then let's go before I change my mind. We walked down the empty street together, away from the lights, away from the noise. Every step felt like shedding a skin I'd worn too long. Behind me, Elena's world was collapsing. Ahead of me, I didn't know what waited. But for the first time, I didn't feel trapped. Isabel squeezed my hand. You're stronger than you think, she said. I don't feel strong, I admitted. You will, she said. You already are. I looked at her and felt something I hadn't felt in years. Not danger. Not hunger. Not fear. Something steadier. Something that felt like a beginning. Let's keep walking, I said. Then keep walking, she replied. And so we did.